Hey, how you guys doing? So I was actually going to type a post, but I changed my mind. I figure a video would be a little bit easier since the story runs deep. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to be pacing. So if you don't like people pacing, you probably should quit watching this right about now. I don't know. Maybe I'll have a seat. Anyway, let's do this. Back in, I think it was May of 2022. So 2 years, maybe 2.5 years ago, my buddy Sean sent me a message and asked, hey, what you doing today? I found a couple snake racks for a good deal, but they're pretty big. You want to give me a hand going to pick them up? I said, yeah, no problem. I'll ride with you. So me and Sean drove all the way out to Manaway, and we met this guy named George. We met him at the police department. The police station was right by his house. So we ended up taking the 2 racks off his truck, putting them in Sean's truck, and then he mentioned that he had more. So we ended up following him to his house, and I ended up buying, I think I bought 3 or 4 additional racks from him, plus a tank and some miscellaneous stuff. But anyway, fast forward 2.5 years, give or take, I found a nice 10-slot snake rack on Facebook the other day, and I messaged the guy, and it was either Monday or Tuesday. I know we were closed. Matter of fact, which day was it? It was Monday, because it was when I was getting this tattoo started. But anyway, I messaged the guy, and he had something to do, and he was at a meeting of sorts. And anyway, after his meeting, he messaged me, gives me an address, says I'll meet you here. It's real close to my house. And then, like, I told him I was kind of in a hurry. I really wanted to be up there, you know, an hour before I was. How close or how soon can he meet me there? I was going to be there at like 6:59 p.m. and he wasn't responding. So I ended up sending Sean a message because something just clicked. And I said, hey, man, is this the same guy we bought those racks from a couple years ago? And he goes digging in his messages, and sure enough, it's the same guy. So I tell him, I said, hey, I actually been to your house before. Me and my buddy Sean bought some racks off you a couple years ago. And the guy's like, oh, hell, man, just come to my house then, sends me his address. So when I get there, we end up having a really good conversation. I was there for about 15 minutes. We talked, I bought the rack, and I came back. But he had another rack, and he said that he was holding it. Somebody wanted it. They were supposed to pick it up on Thursday. But if it fell through, maybe he'd bring it to us because he's been wanting to see our store and all that. So he ended up messaging me the other day and saying that the person changed his mind. He didn't want the rack anymore. So I was like, sweet. And they said they would deliver it to me today. So they ended up getting here a little bit after noon today. And I'll tell you what, George, Caitlin, and their son George, who's only about 1 month older than Madeline, they were here for probably an hour and a half. Great conversations, but it's such a small world that, you know, you could meet somebody, buy a snake or sell a snake or a rack, and 2.5 years later end up doing business with the same person again. Sometimes people will sell off whole collections and then they get back into the hobby. Sometimes they're just downsizing. I mean, there's any of 1,000 reasons, but they were just great people. And, you know, Caitlin hung out with Madeline for a bit, Madeline and her son George, while me and George were back here looking at some snakes. And, you know, it's just a small world, and I love meeting people in the hobby because it's awesome. You get to meet good people. But anyway, when I left George's house the other day, he ended up sending me a message on Facebook and said, my wife really wants me to get back into breeding. When she saw the passion and the way you talked about the snakes and the reptiles and stuff, she wants me to get back into it. And it's awesome because, you know what, that passion is still in me. I mean, 7 years later, the passion still burns in me, just how much I love breeding reptiles and seeing reptiles, holding reptiles, just all of it. And we talked some more today, and they got to look at some of the snakes we had in the store, and he still has, I think he has like 15 or 20 of his own that he still has, and he has had. And he said, you know what, if I get back into breeding, would you be interested in buying the babies? Because, you know, that's the bad part for some people in the hobby. It's just a pain to move these snakes. And, you know, if you're a hobby breeder and you got, you know, you have your adults, but if you have a dozen or a couple dozen babies that aren't selling, it could get frustrating. Plus, when you're talking to people on Facebook or Craigslist or whatever you use, just like the rack this past week, can you hold it till Thursday? Definitely interested. Then they change their mind. Or can you send me 57 pictures, every angle, hold a picture with a calendar so I know that, you know, it's the right date, or hold a newspaper so I know you're not a scammer. Oh, let me ask my wife. And you never hear from them again, or they just ghost you. So I said, dude, if you start breeding snakes again, I will most definitely buy your babies, or at the very least put them on consignment. But it's just awesome because all the cool people, you know, me and Sean, we were at that guy's house for like an hour 2 years ago. Never thought we'd ever see him again, but we had a good conversation. We hung out for a bit, and then, you know, it's a small world. 2.5 years later, guess who I run into again? Now we're friends on Facebook, and who knows, maybe I'll see more of him. Maybe at some point he might start not selling me babies and wanting to vend the shows himself. I mean, I don't know. Things change, people change. It's just awesome, you know. But on the downside of things, I did just get word. I'll back it up a little bit. Last night I found out that I lost another childhood friend. I don't know if that's the correct terminology, but when I was pig farming, my Uncle Bill was good friends with the guy. His name is Rick Rock. I actually knew, I think it was his mother lived right next to my grandma's house when I grew up. We used to always go to Mrs. Rock's house. She used to always give us candy when we were kids. Rick was a beer drinker. We'd go to his house, shoot guns, drink beer. I mean, I was like 12, 13, 14, so I wasn't drinking much beer, but I was still there. I always loved Rick. He had some brothers and neighbors close by. Well, I found out yesterday that Rick Rock passed away. Rest in peace, Rick. And then just half an hour ago, I found out another one of our customers passed away. Larry, it was definitely nice knowing you. It sucks. I mean, the guy's 16-year-old son found him. He had a heart attack and ended up calling 911. Unfortunately, he passed away before the ambulance arrived. And it's tough, you know. You get to meet lots of nice people. Unfortunately, on the other side of things, you lose people that you like and that you're friends with as well. But you know what? Not a day goes by that I'm not amazed with just all the cool people I've met in the hobby, and just all the stories that people have from in the hobby or before the hobby or any which way. But with that, I am out of here. By the way, the rack I got today, George messaged me this morning. Unfortunately, there was a malfunction in the thermostat, burned up the heat tape, burned up some totes. He did have the heat tape, not the totes, although he did, which is very awesome. He did stop at Target, buy a few on the way here, so that helps me out. But I'm not sure if I'm actually going to sell that. It is another 10 slot. I think it's 34 quart, just like the one I got the other day. But I might keep it because, I mean, you see the racks we have, but you know, it's always nice to have another rack that can hold adult ball pythons. Show it this way. So that's what we got so far, plus another hatchling rack there. But you know, to have another rack that can hold sub-adult and adult ball pythons, plus it's animal plastics, I don't know. I think I might have to keep it. If I change my mind, I will let you know. But with this, I just want to make a short video. Just want to tell you once again, I appreciate every one of you, and I love all the stories that we have that, you know, some are better than others, some we can hold on to for longer, but I just love meeting new people. and I love re-meeting new people. So have a good weekend. I'll see you next time. Look, you're on video. Look, Maddie. Look, right here, look. You're on video. I was gonna make a video and you were gonna be a part of it, but you gotta go take your nap. Here, let's jump in this shade. Yeah. Look, say hello. Say hello. I was gonna be in a video, but I gotta go get me a nap ski. Yeah.